Today on Learn Me Something
The race that eats its young.
versus
Fierljeppen. Caleb, this is the last week that I'm in Denver.
Dun,
And the last
dun.
week in our basement dungeon apartment.
In the
So I'm
old
excited to have
dungeon.
a big window in the future.
Yeah, that's so fun. Are you come back this next weekend? A week from recording this?
Yep. And then we're gonna be doing some traveling, and I kind of want to keep that a little bit of a secret because I'll be recording from different locations.
Various geographic
And,
locations.
Sure, and I want to keep it a little bit of a surprise.
That's pretty fun. I feel like that alone is gonna make people want to vote for you, so I'm gonna have to kind of bring the heat a little bit. Cause
I'm not gonna have to do any research. I'll just be.
hey, look, here's where I am. Look how cool I am. Vote for me. And then I'll be like,
cool.
hey, it's a little Caleb from Montana again, still sitting on his couch above the ballet studio.
So that's my plan. I've never got to be above a ballet studio.
No, it's cool. Let me tell you, this
Free
cool
music.
stuff. Yeah, downtown living. The ballet. So when they're practicing, you can hear them just a little bit, and they just transitioned into. It depends on the group. You can tell the age group based off what they're playing. So some of them are doing like Broadway. That's kind of fun, like Broadway songs.
Yeah.
And some other groups, I'm assuming the older crew has already started Christmas music. It's that time of year.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Do you feel like you're more cultured and you can recognize classical music better? Do they ever play that stuff?
They do. Yeah, they do, but it's usually I couldn't name any of the songs, but it's usually songs
Yeah, but like
that
if you
it's
heard
like,
it,
yeah, I know that song. That's an old
I don't know what it's
classical.
called. I could sing along with it. I could scat along with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example. Every once in a while they'll play a song that's like, what? Who is down there dancing ballet to that song? That's very
It's
odd.
like Cotton Eye Joe or something.
Yeah, na. No, it's just usually like this is very interesting. Sometimes their song choice is interesting, but it's artistic choice, and who am I to judge it? Art is art, right?
At least you're not below a ballet studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very different.
Sometimes when it's a kids class, you can hear like a loud bang, and it's like, oh, someone just ate it.
Someone fell over. A
Someone
loud bang and then a scream and then a teacher going, Shh, it's okay, it's okay. Shh, 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 shh.
Shh, hey, shh. Why do we fall, Mr. Wayne?
Actually, that's something you do with like a horse. Shh, 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 shh. Maybe not with little kids.
Josiah, we are like 3 minutes-ish into this episode, and we have yet to even reveal that this is our first themed episode of the season.
Yeah, sports themed, which I think we've
Sports.
done before. So sports part 2. Or was that just it happened to be sports?
We did, no, I'm trying to, so you did underground sports. So you did a lot of super obscure kind of, I forget, is it Afghanistan? I don't remember where, but the one where they got like the goat head and they're on horseback.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like polo on horseback, but with a goat carcass.
Yeah. So let me just scroll and find that episode. You did that one. That was also the one with the people that had to like build the human tower, wasn't it?
Oh, the human tower, that's in Spain, where, the goal is to just stack up people as high as you can. And they like wear helmets and you get the smallest kid on the top. And then when they fall, you just have to catch them. They're like 9, 10 people high.
Yeah, so, okay, I just found the episode. Was not a sports-themed episode.
Okay.
You did, as a topic, underground sports, is what you called it. My topic that episode was is Paul McCartney dead?
Not sports-related.
Conspiracy.
Okay, so this is the
unless
first
Paul McCartney,
sports theme.
Yeah, first one. You guys have never heard anything like this in your life, I bet. But maybe you have. And we have one episode that's similar. but it's sports themed.
Yeah, there you go. And if you're first time listener, this is a competitive teaching podcast where we each bring a topic to the table, present it, and then we have the listeners decide who wins and who loses, and the loser has to do a punishment each episode.
Yeah, interesting twist. So if you're a long-time Learn Me Something listener, you know that we start the episode, we chit-chat for a little bit, have some fun jargon. I like the word jargon. And then the loser of the last episode talks about his punishment experience and what he had to do, how it went, all that kind of stuff. This episode is not that way. And the reason is we have had our first ever Learn Me Something tie.
Yeah, I usually close it down Sunday night. It was tied then. I opened it up for another day, asked people to vote, and then it was still tied by the end of that day.
Yeah, more people voted, still tied, so that we said, what do we do? So do you want to...
decided.
Yeah, tell them what we...
nobody did the punishment this last time, so we're doing double or nothing. So the punishment was you had to get like long acrylic nails on all 10 of your fingers. And so we are going to, you had to do it for a day. So this time, we're going to say the loser has to do it for 2 days. Whoever loses this episode,
double or nothing.
Acrylic nails for 2 days.
And so the nails have to be twice as long.
Which is going to be about a foot long.
Maybe. I hope not.
Not that, okay. Whatever you can find at the store, that's what I say.
So
can you just buy them at the store? Do you have to go to a place to get them on?
I don't know. You were the one who did the research and said that you can buy them at Walgreens. So I've been going off that information.
Okay.
Not that I'll need to.
I guess I'm just not 100% sure. That was like, oh, there's things on the website.
All right, well, we'll hunt around.
We'll find out what happens.
I'm sure maybe someone somewhere has a set that we could... I'm sure you can't borrow them, but that you could take...
Are they reusable?
I don't know.
No.
Surely
Wait,
not. Because
maybe.
you have to glue them, right?
You know those, did you ever get like a magic kit when you were a kid? Or was that just me? I was super into magic as a kid. I'm sorry, illusions. And they have this is going to break the illusion for some people. They have like a fake thumb that you can put on. And if you're like moving your hands around a bunch, you can't really tell. And so you put stuff in the thumb. So like you could like pour water or salt or a little ribbon in there. And then stick your thumb in there and it like hides it.
Yeah.
That's what I want for these nails. It's just, you just slip it over your fingers.
Yeah.
If it falls off, you just pop it back on.
Slip it right back on, as opposed to like the glue on situation.
Yeah, which I think is what nails are.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I'm not into this world.
Yeah, me either. Whole new industry. All that to say, I just thought it was really funny. So I thought the punishment itself last episode was funny. Like, you have to wear nails, long nails. And then I texted Josiah. I was like, well, because he's the one who checks the results. So I was like, well, what are the results? And he's like, it's a tie. And I was like, I don't even know what's protocol for this. What do we even do? We've never.
Yeah, we have tied before, but a second round of voting has fixed it.
Yeah. So he was like, I'll open it up for another day, have people vote, we'll go off that. And I was like, all right, another day, still a tie. They're like, Josiah, what are the results? He's like, man, it's still tied. So I was like, what do we do? And he said something like, let's go double or nothing. Twice the nails, twice the time.
Yeah, so it was
something
between
like that.
Twice the time or twice the length, or do you just stack nails on top, nails on nails? What do you do? Or just on your toenails too?
Ooh, that's interesting. Then you can't wear like closed-toed shoes.
You can. You just have to get like a couple sizes too big.
Clown shoes.
Wear a couple size 15 shoes. A little more pricey, but
this is funny. I'm excited. This will be interesting. Before we dive in, let's read a new review because we haven't done that in a while. So here's one new review. Title is Good Show. And
nice.
5 stars.
They're British.
Love those 5-star reviews. Person says, took me a long time to come up with a good review, and finally I came up with one. So here it goes. Yeah, it's a good show. I like it. And that's
All right.
it. That's from TFK 91991, which based off of the name and the way the review is written, I'm 90% sure I know who it is.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, I think it's Logan Connerly. And if it is, thanks, man. Thanks for the good review.
Whoever wrote that, thank you.
Yeah.
It's chicken chicken noodle soup for the podcaster's soul.
That should go on a shirt.
With that
Somehow.
review.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good. All right. So here's the question.
Yeah.
If it's the first time listening, the winner of the previous episode gets to decide who goes first, and usually the coveted spot is to present first. But we didn't have a winner last episode, so how do we
I got
choose?
something for you. I got
Okay.
a random number generator pull up here.
Good.
You
Love
pick
it.
either 1 or 2.
Okay. I love that you came prepared for this exact issue. I choose 2.
Okay, here we go.
Come
It's
on.
1. I'm going first. I promise. I didn't lie. Okay.
I believe you.
Sports theme. Here we go.
Do it.
Pulling
Let's
up my
do
notes.
it. I'm gonna sit back, settle down into my couch, get ready for some sports talk.
Yeah, get
I've
comfy.
always been good at sports talk.
Get comfy. Do you have like a warm beverage or something? Do you need to go to the bathroom? Maybe take a quick nap before we get started? Just
Yeah.
a blanket, a sweater,
You
light
keep
some
the
candles.
people entertained. I'm gonna go hooga up, and I'll be back in 20.
Okay, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, here we go. I'm talking today about the Barkley Marathons.
Ooh.
You ever heard of this?
Haven't. I'm very interested.
Okay, this some things that people say about it.
Uh-huh.
It's where dreams go to die. It's the race that eats its young.
Wait. Hold on. Quick pause.
Yeah,
Is this by chance like a desert race?
it's not.
Okay, never mind. I thought maybe I knew what it was, but now I'm
There
realizing
Are-
I don't.
there are desert races.
Yeah.
Apparently, some of which people have never finished,
Oh.
which
Wow.
doesn't seem like much of a race to me.
More of a last man standing type situation.
I don't.
A blitz royale, if you will, of racing.
Yeah, it's not a race because it's not who. Maybe it's who gets the farthest. It's just a different type of race, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not about who gets there first.
Anyway, back to your races.
Back to the Barkley Marathon. So this is arguably the most difficult ultra marathon in the entire world.
Oh.
People have finished it, but you'll see what I mean. It's a little quirky, a little fun, horrible, very interesting. So the origins of this race go back to 1968.
Uh-huh.
So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you've heard of him.
Yep. Sure have.
So he was staying at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. And famously, he was standing on the balcony of room 306 where he was assassinated.
Okay.
And so you might be thinking, what does this have to do with an ultramarathon?
That's
Well, I'll tell you.
exactly what I was thinking.
So once the shot was heard, obviously people are trying to find out who did this. A manhunt ensued for whoever was the one that pulled the trigger. Eventually they found this guy named James Earl Ray.
Okay.
So he was found in London 2 months later and was transported back to the U.S., eventually confessed and pled guilty, and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. Long time. He was placed in Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary to live out the rest of his days. Unless he lives to be like 130 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which,
Unlikely.
by that point, yeah, unlikely. Not too much of a danger to society. Maybe, but...
You never know.
So I bet you're still wondering, what in the world does this have to do with
I still
a marathon?
am. You're right.
Okay, let's continue, and maybe I'll tell you by the end of this. Maybe not. So he was in the penitentiary for about 8 years
Okay.
in Tennessee, and so about 8 years in, him and 6 other convicts escaped, and there's a manhunt that went on. And it took about 2 days. They thought it'd go a little quicker, but people kind of went. It's super thick there's lots of brush and brambles, and so they eventually found him just covered in leaves, and the dog just walked up and was like, "Yeah, he's right here."
Oh, oh,
And
okay.
and so they took him back, and
Yep.
so it was publicized. It was on the news, and people around the area were kind of following it. And one of these people was a guy named Gary Cantrell, goes by the nickname Lazarus Lake or
Lazarus Lake.
Laz or Laz
Oh,
for short,
Laz. That's a good nickname. Not gonna lie to
right?
you.
Yeah. And so he had been following the news coverage, kind of lived in the area, and once he had heard James Earl Ray only made it, it was like 8.5 miles, I think,
Yeah.
in the span of 54 hours. He's like, that's pathetic. I could have done way better than that. He's like, I could probably do 100 miles in that same time.
Oh boy.
And so he was an ultra runner himself.
Yeah. Knows his
Started
stuff.
cross country in high school, wanted to play football, but was too small. And so got into running. And so him and a buddy kind of did this first race on their own, started it, and eventually made it like an official race and started inviting people.
Cool.
And
Good for
at the
them.
beginning, the first race took place in 1986, kind of the same area. So it goes around to this day. It's by that penitentiary.
Oh. Huh.
So
That's fun.
same area that James Earl Ray fled or was trying to flee in. And since then, it's gained a ton of popularity for how challenging, exclusive, mysterious, and quirky it is.
Oh, I can't wait for all of those adjectives to be explained further.
Yeah, I don't know, he kind of reminds me, you can look up a picture of him. His name is Gary Cantrell or Lazarus Lake again.
Uh-huh.
He kind of reminds me of like an old-timey prospector. Some of the pictures you see, he's like an older guy, probably late 60s, early 70s maybe.
Okay.
Just a little scruffy, scraggly, like big old aviator glasses.
A little rough around the edges.
Yeah, but he's a fun guy. So, and you'll kind of understand who he is based on these rules that he has set up for how to complete this race.
Okay.
So similar to his original plan of like, I bet I could do this 100 miles in 54 hours. It's not a super set goal. You have to do 5 loops of anywhere between 20 and 30 miles.
Oh.
And the first 3 laps are known as the fun run.
I disagree.
But
Wholeheartedly.
so that's upwards of 60 miles. That's a fun run. And for a lot of people, that's kind of, they're not even trying to finish the whole race. That's just what they're trying to accomplish.
I want to do the fun run. That's the goal.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Out for a stroll. People come from all over the world to do this, and it sounds fun. Just clomping around the forest in Tennessee. Fun run. Yeah, nothing
not?
screams fun like running 60 miles.
That's what I say.
So every year the course is different, and you don't know what the route is or what the route of the loop is until you arrive. So he changes it every year, so you can't practice or go there ahead of time and
Wow.
run it.
Good for him to keep it like legit and yet, keeping it mysterious.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
applaud
And
the efforts.
this is kind of the part that gets me, is there's 60,000 feet of elevation change, which is like
cow.
Everest, just to give you a scale, is 29,000 feet.
That is so crazy.
So I read one place that's like going from sea level up to Everest and back to sea level twice. So I don't
Wow.
know how that's measured, but
I'm not a
absolutely
fan.
insane.
Yeah, that
And you
sounds
get-
horrible.
And you can't take as long as you want either. You have 60 hours to complete this.
Oh, so you also have a time limit. It's not
You have a
just
time
like
limit.
if you accomplish this, that's a great feat and good for you. It's like, nope, have to do it in a certain amount of time or you're a loser.
You get 60 hours of 60,000 feet of elevation change and upwards of like somewhere around 120 some miles.
That's unfathomable.
And you get 12 hours to complete each loop, which breaks the 60-hour limit into 5 chunks for
Yep.
for each of the 5 loops. First 2 loops are in one direction, and then the third and fourth loops you go the other direction. So you go like clockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise.
Okay, nice.
And the final lap, whoever gets there first can go in either direction.
Oh,
But there are so few people that in the event that there's 2 people who make it to lap 5,
yeah.
then they have to go in opposite directions. So
What?
I don't think there's ever been more than 2 people that have made it to lap 5 in 1 year.
This is crazy.
So just think about no matter what the weather's like, it's in late spring, so no matter what the weather is like either, they'll have it.
Yeah.
If it's raining, foggy, cold, hot, they'll have it no matter what.
Because it's already so brutal that it's like the weather doesn't even matter
Exactly.
at this point.
Yeah. If you're here, you're just a little bit crazy anyway. So we're going to go through it.
What's one more obstacle?
Yeah. Just these people are absolutely insane. And so this will kind of help you understand who Laz is a little bit more. But so there's an unspecified start time. So it's anywhere between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. on race day. So you're kind of just hanging out.
You just have
And
to
then-
be ready to run at any time?
Basically, kind of. But you'll hear a conch shell. And then once that's blown, that means the race starts in exactly 1 hour. So you get a little bit of time to prepare.
To warm
So
up.
sometimes he'll start like 10 a.m. Sometimes he'll start at 1 in the morning.
That's insane. So you just have to... Essentially, he's adding a layover to race day.
Yeah.
And you don't know exactly... Like, the plane might be delayed. You don't know exactly what
You
the
just have
situation
to
is.
listen. Yep.
That's
And
very interesting.
the race officially starts with the ceremonial lighting of the cigarette.
Love that.
So Laz just stands there and he's got a cigarette and he lights it, and that's how you go. Which I thought was weird because it's not like a gunshot where it's immediate and once it happens everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know? I feel like there's just a couple seconds of lag time. Like, is it lit or
Yeah, kind of hard to tell. I think I see the smoke, but...
maybe? I mean, it's not like a mile race where seconds are important.
Yeah, totally.
It's big enough that just finishing is big.
Enough.
So you're not really going to be racing against anybody.
This is so crazy.
You just have to stay in it.
That's very 1980s of him. Yeah, I'll just... Whenever I light my cigarette, you guys can start running.
You guys can go. Apparently, it's a thing. Like, it's a tradition. I'd never heard of it, but
Oh?
that's
Yeah, I
what he
had no
said.
idea.
So how do you sign up? It takes place in Frozen Head State Park in Eastern Tennessee.
'Kay.
And to sign up, you kind of have to know somebody. He didn't want it to get as big as it is.
Yeah.
There's no website or anything. It's a little bit exclusive, and that he kind of wanted to keep it that way.
Yeah, totally. I get that.
So to sign up, you have to mail in a certain list of items to him. You have to mail a $1.60 registration fee, and you don't get that back if you're not accepted. You have to get a letter describing what you would get out of the race, and like kind of pitch yourself like, this is why I should do it.
This is very weird.
You also have to bring a license plate from your home state or country or province. And you also, I thought this was brilliant, you have to bring an item that Laz is low on. So if he needs socks, he'll say you have to bring some socks. He's done a white button-up shirt, and he's like, now I have a bunch of white button-up shirts. And then so one year he had people bring flannel shirts in his size.
That's so funny.
So brilliant. And he gets some money for the registration fee every year.
Yeah. This guy gets
It's a
it.
nice
He's
little-
got it
yeah,
figured out.
He called it his retirement plan, that registration fee. So, and you also, if you get accepted, if you're one of the 40 of 1,000 plus people that get accepted,
Yeah.
then you get a letter in the mail saying, I regret to inform you that you've been accepted into the Barclay.
I love this guy.
So he's a little quirky, a little fun.
Yeah.
Fun prospector guy. does not look like a runner, but he is. He actually himself in 2018 he walked across the country from coast to coast,
Oh, okay.
west to east, and like I said, he's up there, upper 60s.
A super fit guy, though.
I mean,
He could go
super
forever.
fit guy who smokes quite a bit. And so once you're in, you get there. There's only about 40 people. The race starts. Like I said, it's 5 loops. The ceremonial lighting a cigarette, and then you're off.
Yeah.
There's this old yellow gate. You have to touch it to begin. In between laps, touch it. That means the first loop is done. Touch it again. That means the second loop begins.
Yeah.
And so it's just all these super weird little traditions that have developed over time.
He's just like built this whole little micro culture around it. That's so fun.
Exactly. So something else that is a microculture, you get a bib number. For each racer gets a bib number. The person that he gives the number 1 bib to, he calls them the human sacrifice, and that's the person he thinks is least likely to complete the race. Like the person that he just sees as like kind of they haven't prepared. They're just in it for the experience. And so that's well known. So if you get the number 1, you're like, okay, that's a spirit crusher right there.
An insult from the man himself.
I know.
That's so funny.
And
what a cool dude.
Yeah, you can. There's a couple documentaries out there you can watch about it. One's called "Where Dreams Go to Die," and one's called "The Race That Eats Its Young." And he's I like this guy.
That's so good.
And he's there at the yellow gate every time. He makes sure people went to the right place, and to make sure that people go to the actual route. He's taped. He gets like anywhere from 9 to 11 books, and he tapes them throughout the course so that you have to rip out a page of the book corresponding to your bib number.
Oh,
and so you have to bring
clever.
all those pages back, and he counts them. Okay, there's proof that you've done the entire route.
Yeah, that's clever.
Because there's no trails or signs or anything. You just get like a map and a compass, and you have to
figure it out.
So it's a little bit of a treasure hunt too.
That's so crazy.
And so if you don't collect all the pages, lap's not complete. You have to go back and do it again, or just quit,
or just give up.
Yeah,
that's crazy. What could you imagine if someone like dropped a page or like it fell out of their pocket and they didn't realize it?
You gotta be careful.
Yep,
it's over.
You're done.
Try next year.
Maybe.
And
you can apply.
Yeah, and if you do tap out, then you have to go to the starting gate, and somebody will play taps on the bugle, and you just got to stand there, da, da, da. And then once that's over, it's just like, okay, I'm done.
I can go home now.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
And the same guy's been bugling for about 15 years, and that's his job.
Telling someone that, like, I'm the Berkeley Marathon bugler. That's just my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it starts with the conch and ends with the bugle, which I just love.
Unless you complete it.
Yeah. And so speaking of completing it.
Yep. I was going to say, there's got to be some sort of winner's ritual.
You know what? I don't know if there is, but it only has a 99% failure rate. And so first race was in 86, and they just had one this year.
Yeah.
22. So was that 14 plus 22? So 30 plus years of doing this, only 15 people have completed it.
Holy cow. That's so crazy. Could you just the pure accomplishment and like bragging rights you get from having done that?
And people come try and run it, get close, come back the next year and keep trying and trying. There's one guy, the current record is 55 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh wow.
So the fastest time is only had 18 minutes to spare.
Whew.
No, I guess 4 hours and 18 minutes.
Still, that's
not a lot.
Close on a 60-hour race.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
one guy took a wrong turn on his last lap,
Oh
was
no.
2 miles out, took a little bit of a wrong turn, and he had all the pages, but he knew he was taking the wrong turn, so he told people, and he was 6 seconds too late. It was 60 hours
No.
and 6 seconds. And so if
Could you imagine?
did not complete it.
That's heartbreaking. I would never
Heart-wrenching.
run again. I would say
No, this
that.
guy's like I looked into him. He has almost 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh,
Big professional runner.
Huh.
Also
for him.
named Gary. Gary something.
Gary.
These people are absolutely insane. One guy has finished it 3 times.
What? Why would you ever do it more than once?
I don't know. But these people are absolutely insane. Like you watch the documentaries on these guys.
Yeah.
They finish a lap, which is about a marathon,
Yep.
and they look like they've just been jogging.
Just hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you picture them like get there and just pass out, or at least rest your hands on your knees.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm going out. Feed me some food. I'm going back out. And they don't really sleep because you only have a certain amount of time to complete it. So sleeping is a little bit of a waste, you know?
Yeah.
And so some of them sleep for an hour or two between laps. You can, but
So crazy.
this one guy, Gary Robbins is his name, the guy who barely did not complete it. He's like, at one point, he's like, I've been hallucinating for hours just from
What?
lack of sleep. And he's like, I've actually been up for 96 hours now.
No way.
So these people are just inhuman, alien. Just
Yeah.
I don't know. I cannot fathom doing something like this.
That.
And it's not really televised or anything. It's just out in the middle of the woods. There's probably 100 some people there.
Yeah.
Like you don't get this big medal or anything. It's just this backcountry race that people like almost kill themselves for. Like, yeah, it's just crazy
That doesn't. There's no reason.
Except, yeah, I think maybe within the running community it must be like a huge feat, but just wild to me. So this year's 2022 run,
Yeah.
5 people completed the fun run, so the first 3 laps, which is 75-ish miles.
Yeah.
But it's the fourth race in a row with nobody to finish. So nobody's
it's a
nobody's
dry spell.
finished since 2017 because they didn't
Okay.
have it 2020.
That should be the punishment of next episode.
Run the Barkley Marathon.
You have to run it.
If you can get in, you better send a good letter. You're
Well,
gonna be
I
out
feel like
some socks and $1.60.
I feel like if you said, "Hey, I do this podcast and I lost the episode and so this is the punishment." I feel like he is just feeling how quirky he is. I feel like he'd be like, "You're in. Number 1
Oh.
bib. I know you're out, but
Yeah.
you got to do it."
Either number 1 bib or you're not in. That's very possible. That'd be kind of fun, actually. Just see how far you can go.
Yeah. I made it.
Yeah.
It would be like I did a 5K and now I'm lost in the woods.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
don't know what's happening.
Like, I'm just gonna find somebody and maybe just sit here, hold onto a tree, and just yell for a while, see if somebody finds me.
You'd have to wait. You'd have to wait for someone to finish their second lap so that their third lap they do
Oh,
it
there you go.
backwards and then you could follow them the 5K
Yeah.
back to the start.
That's true. So that would be basically close to a full day by that point. That
Yeah.
You're just out in the woods.
Just sitting there waiting for someone to help.
It's better than tromping around the woods.
Yeah,
You
agreed.
just sit, make a little fort,
yeah,
bring
start
some
a fire.
schmo supplies.
Just cheer people on.
Honestly, I would do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We'll put it in the books, the Learn Me Something books for someday.
Okay. Yeah, we better do it soon, though, because I read that every time somebody finishes the race, he makes it a little bit harder.
Oh, really?
And so he said he's trying to just straddle the line between possible and impossible.
Yeah.
So he wants it to just always be just out of reach. And then when somebody finishes it, makes it more challenging.
Oh man. Okay. It would be a funny punishment to at least have to like apply.
Apply.
And send the letter in and just see what happens.
Send in whatever article of clothing he's low on.
Yeah.
Like send in some underwear and
whatever he needs. Yeah. Some
a letter.
pants, some jeans, and a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the Barkley Marathon, one of the most difficult races in the entire world. 15 finishers. It's been going on 36-ish years.
Yeah.
And 15 finishers. That's just so
Wow.
crazy. And
That
it kind
is
of got me
very cool.
It got me thinking, like, that'd be fun to make a race of my own. Like if somebody came up to me and said, Josiah, make a race. There's not enough races out there in the world.
Go make one.
You need
to do
something.
this. Yeah.
Maybe if it was like a learn me something fun run.
Ooh.
Well, actually, if it's an ultra marathon, because that seems more fun because you can do a lot more with it.
Yeah, a lot more things to do.
So
That'd be fun
always
to
thought
do
it'd
a
be
learn
fun.
me something
Yeah.
race though.
A learn me something fun run.
That'd be awesome.
I like that. We need to think of start some traditions on the first one. Like
All right,
you have
we'll get
we
that
can
on the
wave
books, too.
the learn me something flag.
Yeah.
We can. Oh, how about us two? We're just talking the entire time, just telling.
We just have
telling people
speakers
things.
lined
Yeah.
up over the whole thing, and you
So
can
the
just
entire
listen
time
to an
we
episode.
record a live episode while people are running themed, or walking themed.
Okay, this is a good idea. When the weather gets warmer, let's do it.
A walking themed episode. Anyway, so I had a couple ideas for an ultra marathon that I thought were fun.
Okay, hit me.
I've
Ready?
always wanted to go across, either bike or run across from Montana to Washington, across the Idaho Panhandle,
Ooh.
which I looked straight across as the crow flies is about 50 miles.
Oh, that's nothing.
So you could totally make a race out of that.
Yeah.
They might already have it because you could run straight across 3 states.
What if you
That's
race
a fun
to
concept.
What if you race to Idaho Falls from Kalispell and you call it the race to Sonic? Because there's a Sonic there.
That's why
And
people
that-
go there.
And that's
Who
why
live in Kalispell. Sonic.
So it'd be like you finish the race, your prize is mozzarella sticks and a
Oh.
strawberry slush.
I like that. You run to a fast food restaurant as the finish line. That's
Yeah.
pretty fun, actually. Or once you get the food, then you're done.
Yeah. That's
I like that.
That's part of the time is how long does it take you to order and get your food?
Have you ever heard of a milk run?
No. Are you just
It's
holding
where-
gallons of milk?
No. I mean, kind of, in your belly.
Oh.
You take, it's
oh.
a 5K or a mile. I'm sure they do different ones.
Yeah.
There's also a donut run. But each lap on a track, which is a quarter mile,
Uh-huh.
you have to, like, drink a quarter gallon of milk or something. And by the end, you'll have drank a gallon. Or
That
the
sounds
donut one actually seems
horrible.
fun. I think the donut ones that I've seen, it's like a 5K. You have to run halfway, eat a dozen donuts, and then run back.
That's so horrible.
I would do something like that. That sounds so interesting to me.
That is where we differ a little bit. I don't have much interest in that at
Okay.
all.
Okay, how about this one? Another idea I had is called a half marathon pancake.
Love it.
That's what I'm
Whatever
calling
it
it.
is, love it.
Okay, so basically it's a stack of half marathons on top of each other with a break between. So you find an airport. You start from an airport, you run to another airport about 13 miles.
Uh-huh.
You fly to another airport, maybe in another state. Then you find another airport that's about a half marathon from that. So it's just a long race. You can sleep on the plane, recover on the plane,
Plane is recovery time.
eat and stuff. And then once you get to the airport, you start running to the next place. So it's pretty expensive to do because you get your own private plane basically.
Yeah,
once
and
you
the
get there.
shirts would be really nice.
Oh, they would be so nice. That
Comfort
shirt you
colors,
get at the end.
high
Oh.
quality.
That's the epitome of nice. Yeah, no dollar will be spared on these shirts.
It seems like maybe there's some issues with that idea. First
Okay.
off, every racer would have to have a private plane. Not
No, that's
impossible.
what it's expensive.
Yeah. Not impossible, but tricky. Second off,
Sure, the logistics are a little tricky.
yeah,
A bunch of pilots too, really.
the logistics of getting you'd have to find enough airports that have another airport that's exactly 13 miles away.
Sure, which would be you'd have to get small ones.
Small, like local airports.
Yeah,
So,
little grass runways,
yeah.
which you could do. I think you could do it.
So you wouldn't be like running through the Denver airport trying to like get squeezed through the people
Maybe.
at baggage claim.
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to,
you do. You do. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's only commercial flights. So I guess it's a little like Amazing Race.
So part of the race time then, and part of the skill of it is being able to find flights at appropriate times. Essentially,
I
Well,
think
it's like-
maybe they get you buy them ahead of time.
right? But like if you miss
Oh,
your
but if you don't-
flight,
that's
or if
true,
you get there
that's true.
too early and you've got a 4-hour wait
Okay,
till the
it has
so
to be a
you've gotta
private
able to-
plane. It's got to be a private plane.
have to be able to pace it. Yeah,
Because
just
otherwise,
right.
you just sit in the plane and you just be waiting to take off. And like, come
Yep.
on, checking your watch. Can we go?
Totally.
And then everybody stands up once the plane lands,
oh, you'd have to be jogging.
and you're just like, oh, excuse me, scooch
You'd
by.
have to be in your running shorts, and you've got like your hydration vest. You've got to be jogging to the front of the plane before the seatbelt sign is turned off, so that you're first off.
That's true. Oh yeah, you have to get up early,
Yep.
like before the plane lands, while
Mm-hmm.
the flight attendants are still buckled, so because they're not supposed to get up.
Nothing they can do to
So
stop
like,
you.
yeah, you're just there. You're just standing there between the two very front first class seats, just holding onto the headrest next to you.
Yep.
You're ready.
Either that, or you cleverly book flights that's only seat number 1 in the plane. 1C
True.
is another option.
No, it's got to be private. I think it's not private.
Yeah.
It's not as much of a race.
Yep. That'd be tricky.
That's my idea. Half marathon pancake.
Okay, that's good. Logistically, I don't know if we can make that one happen, but I think we
Oh,
can
no,
do
no,
the
no.
Learn Me Something Fun run.
Learn Me Something Fun Run, first annual live episode extravaganza event party.
I feel like okay, in my, I think it would be fun as the Learn Me Something owners to just start doing really random things like that are just loosely. It's almost like Learn Me Something is sponsoring events, but they don't really have much to do with Learn Me Something. So like we could do a fun run. We could do a hot dog eating competition.
Oh,
We could do like a poker night, and it's just like all these Learn Me Something things that just don't really have anything to do with the podcast, but they're Learn Me Something branded. I think that would be very fun.
Is it for listeners only or anybody? Is it like a marketing campaign? Like we're
Anybody
trying
can
to get people.
come.
Okay.
All are welcome, but listeners will be celebrated somehow.
We've talked about this before. Speaking of marketing the podcast, we've talked about this before, but getting a billboard. I was driving.
yes.
I had to drive across Kansas last week. We were visiting Abby's family. That is not a fun drive, I have to say. But there's billboards on just stretches of nothing.
Yeah.
Just land and land and land. But you get like a decent amount of billboards. I was like, I bet that's decently cheap.
Yep. Totally.
I want a billboard.
That's on our Learn Me Something bucket list, which is something we probably should write down, the Learn Me Something bucket list. But getting the billboard, definitely on it. I just think that'd be hilarious.
Billboard. What would we put on it?
I don't know.
Is it just our face and then the name? Or do we have like a big QR code? Just nothing except a QR code?
Something.
And hope
something
we don't cause any wrecks.
Everyone take your phones out.
Take
Scan,
your phone out.
scan this.
Scan this billboard.
It definitely has to be something mysterious.
Okay.
What if we get a series of billboards along the stretch of... Ooh, okay. I've got an idea turning.
Okay.
It's cooking. It's baking in the oven. A series of billboards in a city, and it's a treasure hunt. So
Oh.
you come across billboard number 1, and it was like, you've just began the treasure hunt. And then it gives you a clue to get to the next billboard. Boom, get to that
I love
billboard.
it.
That gives you a clue. You're going all across the city,
You
billboard
enter
after
all
billboard.
5 codes or scan all 5 QR codes.
Yep, and it just takes you to
And then you can
the
finally listen
podcast
to it.
page.
Like,
Can you
oh, this is
imagine
a podcast, a free podcast.
someone puts like 3 hours of work into that, and it's just like, oh, these random dudes.
That's how
podcast.
you build loyalty.
Yeah, because then they're like, have to try it out. I spent so much time.
I gotta
working
check
on
them
this.
out. I hate them, but I gotta check it out.
We get so many 1-star reviews in the course of a day. People trying to do it and then realizing it's just us.
All publicity is good publicity.
That's what I say.
I don't think that's the saying, but that's what I believe. Okay, that's what I got.
Okay.
Barkley Marathons.
That was good. Big fan. Where did you find this topic? Is this a secret source topic? I'm always curious.
I think I was listening to. Have you ever heard of David Goggins?
No.
He's a former Navy SEAL and ultramarathoner. Super, super intense, like a little bit too intense.
Yeah, because
And,
he's an ultramarathoner and a Navy SEAL.
I mean, yeah, it's a combo that only the most intense people will achieve.
Yeah, agreed.
I think he talked about it in a audiobook I was listening to.
Cool.
If you ever want to feel like somebody is just mad at you for no reason, just watch a video of his. Like, he just posts these little videos. I don't know if it's motivating or not, but
Or,
you'll
like,
definitely feel
demoralizing.
worse about yourself. But you also might feel inspired. So
Okay. So it's kind of a motivate at your own risk.
sure.
It might destroy your self-confidence, but you might
But
do
maybe that's a
something
good
about your life.
thing. Maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, my topic. I think it'll be decently short. It's
Okay.
interesting. It's interesting to me. It's pretty fascinating. There's some decently fun history behind it. There's some science involved. There's some physics involved. All around, it's a pretty great learn me something topic. None of that matters.
Well-rounded. Oh,
The reason I'm doing this topic is because it's pretty fun to say. So today I'm going to be talking. You might have heard of this. I'd be very impressed if you heard of it based off the name. Today I'm going to be talking about Fierljeppen.
Fierljeppen.
Have you heard about Fierljeppen?
What language is it?
It's Dutch. Netherlands is the region. Fierljeppen.
What's the continent?
The continent? I just told you it was the Netherlands. I don't know anything else other than that. Maybe
Okay,
this
yeah,
will
go
help.
for it.
It's also known as Polstakverspringen.
Oh, the pole stock verspringen. It's like a pole vault, except the pole is spring loaded.
You got there from Polstakverspringen?
Is that really what it is?
Kinda.
It's a pole vault with a spring-loaded pole.
Nope, it's not spring loaded, but you got the
Oh.
pole vault part right.
Okay.
So, Fierljeppen. Also, it's hard to say because when you read it, it's spelled Fierljeppen. Fierljeppen.
There's
I
like
watched-
a couple silent letters in there.
Silent J. Actually, I think the J in this case makes a yeah sound. Silent R.
Okay.
Fierljeppen.
Okay.
I think I got it right. If someone knows of this sport, it's a sport. I should clarify. It's a sport. If someone knows this better than I watched a couple pronunciation videos, and this is the closest I got. So if I'm still way
Okay.
off base, I'm sorry. not great at pronouncing things in general. So Fierljeppen is a Dutch sport, northern Netherlands, Friesland to be precise.
Okay.
Fiel or Fier equals far. Jeppen or Liepen equals leaping. So
You're doing so great. I'm so proud of you.
I'm trying my best. The exact translation is far leaping.
Oh.
And the reason I'm doing this is not only it is a fun name, but also the sport itself is very fascinating, and I wish that it was bigger. Like I wish we had it in the U.S. because it actually seems pretty interesting. So here's the gist. So how do you feel? Yep. Step one.
I feel. Oh, you weren't asking me.
Oh, actually, no. Why don't you tell me first? That
I
seems fun.
feel. You sound like you called me Liepen. How do you feel, Liepen?
Hey, Yeppen, how do you feel? No, okay. Here, let me just explain it. This is how you feel, Yep. So you're on a platform. If it's an
But you can't
official
just tell me how I feel.
if it's an official competition, you're standing on a platform that's long. It's like I think it was like 10 to 15 meters, which is roughly like 30 to 50 feet ish. I think.
Okay.
Long. That's how long the platform is. So you sprint down platform fast as you can. You leap off the platform over a body of water.
There's one water.
In the water is the pole stock, which is a pole. Your goal is to leap off the platform, grab the pole. Your momentum from leaping, you're sprinting down the platform, you jump off. Your momentum from the sprint and the jump pushes the pole stock upwards. As the pole stock slows, as it gets closer to its center of gravity, pointing straight up because of science, as it's slowing, your goal is to climb as far up the pole stock as you possibly can. Then as it reaches its center of gravity and tips over the opposite direction, you're climbing as hard. You want to get to the very, very top of the pole stock, and then you leap. As the pole stock falls the opposite direction, you leap from the pole stock, land very hard and aggressively, if you watch some of the videos, into a pit of sand. And the goal is, or to win Fierljeppen, the goal is to get the furthest in the pit of sand. So the only way you can qualify is if you reach the sand pit, and the way to win is to land the furthest over in the sand pit.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I even have in my notes. I'm sure that you've seen this somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there's been a couple videos that, the random Facebook videos that you're like, why am I watching this? And it has horrible music behind it.
Yeah.
I think that's where I discovered this, actually.
There's always one song with those old Facebook videos. It has like it's a ukulele and whistling goes.
Yeah, and it's so annoying, and it just keeps going.
I guarantee people recognize that whistle from YouTube video or Facebook videos.
100%. And the videos can be like 12 minutes long, and it just like repeats. It's so annoying. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook, but don't even get me started. So the history of it, and then we'll talk about some tricks for success, and then we'll talk about the Fierljeppen record. Again, I've just got a shorter topic. I just think it's fun.
Okay.
But the history is actually...
Sure.
History is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it didn't actually start as a sport. It started as a necessity, which I find very interesting. So this area of the Netherlands, a lot of it is most of it is at or below sea level, which means there's a ton of canals and water passages all throughout that area. But it's a big farming area. So originally, this started because farmers needed a way to get from one part of the land to other parts and to get past all of these big bodies of water. So they would carry around these wood poles, and they would use those to Fierljeppen across these canals and get to like other portions of their land. So
okay, I mean I can think of other ways to do that,
like bridges.
A bridge. Maybe you just walk across. Maybe just calm down a little bit and walk across. But
Well,
it's quicker.
I think some of them are pretty deep. Like you'd have to swim sometimes.
No. I mean, you lay the pole down and then
Oh,
walk
and
across the
walk
pole.
across. Well, so the thing is, I think that they're pretty. It's kind of like a swampy area. So you're sometimes like it's not just here's a river and then two solid chunks of land. Sometimes it's like kind of mucky and gross.
Ah,
Does that make sense? I
kinda.
think, at least in my head. But farmers
I
would
need
do
to be
this
there.
to jump from over canals and water
Okay.
passages and stuff, which I think is very interesting.
It's very
Um,
fun.
yeah, it's a super unique way to go about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's dated back to. I read a couple different sources that said it dated back to the 1200s, is when there's like written explanations of farmers doing this. So long
Okay.
time ago,
Wow.
people were doing this. Fast forward, so that's kind of we don't know how long it's been happening, but that's kind of the first area that we have some stuff documented. And then there's like I think some paintings and stuff that kind of um, depict farmers doing this way back when.
Really?
But fast forward to 1573, it's the 80 Years' War, which is a war that I know remarkably little about. But
Some would be surprised how little you know about it.
yeah, so essentially it's from what I understand, it's the people of the Netherlands and the Spanish army, and they're duking it out. Spanish army is attacking. Spanish army is very, very strong, right? And so then there's this one fight. So it goes on for a while due to its title of 80 years. There's this one battle or event called the Siege of Alkmaar, I think is how you pronounce it, or Alkmaar,
Okay.
which is a Dutch city. And so the Spanish army is attacking. They're just super strong. They've been like just destroying, siege after siege, winning everything, until they attack Alkmaar. And so they're trading military strategies, trying to figure out how to stop the Spanish army, and it results in a series of military notes that need to get from one area to another. That's crucial to setting up this strategy to kicking the Spanish army out and kind of stopping the siege, winning.
I thought you were going to say it's crucial to kick in their butts.
Yeah, so these notes are very important, have to get from one area of the battle to another area. So they relied on this guy named William van der Mage. Not a chance on earth I pronounced his name right. But he was, I believe it said he was like a carpenter or something. So like nothing special, not like a high up military commander or anything, but he knew how to Fierljeppen. And so what they did was
Oh.
they took these notes and they hid them in his vaulting pole. And the actual term is, here we go, polstokbriefjes, which literally translates to vaulting pole notes. So they hid all these military notes in the vaulting poles, and then it said that the Spanish army was amazed because they couldn't get him because they weren't used to this terrain, and he was Fierljepping. So the reason he was able to move so quickly was because he was Fierljepping all over these canals that they had to stop and find a way to get through.
They had to get their boring old bridge out.
Yeah, so they weren't able to. I mean, even if you laid down a pole and tried to walk over it, that's going to take a lot longer than if you're
Yeah.
just running with a pole,
Definitely.
throw it in the water, leap over, grab the pole, keep running. So I read a couple different things just talking about how the Spanish army was just amazed that they were trying to like get this guy, but he was able to break the enemy lines and get to where he needed to go because he was Fierljepping like a madman. And so he got these secret notes in the hands of the right people, and they were able to enact the strategy, and the Spanish army had to retreat. And it's actually, this battle is actually known as the turning point in the 80 Years' War, because the Spanish had been winning for so long, but this was the first city to overcome a siege by their army, and a good chunk of it was due to this guy and his
Wow.
Fierljeppen. So there's some fascinating backstory
That's very interesting.
to this thing.
So that was just because he had history doing that and then
Yeah.
it became a sport? Or was
Yeah.
he involved in the sport?
No, at the time, it was just a thing farmers knew to do. And so
Just
he,
practical.
having grown up in the area, just like knew the terrain and knew how to do it. So at that time, it was not a sport at all. It was just strictly like a tool, essentially, that farmers had. And that's how they got around, which I think is so much more fun than like a more conventional method of building bridges and stuff.
Yeah. Why walk when you can rollerblade?
Right.
Type of thing.
Yeah. So fast forward, it starts to turn into more of an entertainment thing. People are like, wow, this is actually pretty fun. So they start making these pole stalks longer and longer. And they're like, oh, this is really cool. Look, you can do this. And so it was hundreds of years of kind of just growth. And it started as a fun local thing and then turned into, I bet I can go further than you. And then that turned into, well, I'm going to build a longer pole stalk and then I can do it longer. And then someone figured out, wait, you can do the leaping and then climb it a little bit. And that would get you even further. And so this whole sport is just a very slow progression of what used to be a farming tool till we get to the 700s, which is when the first official like competition began. And it was not the way it is now. It's now like an official sport and pretty stinking cool. But back then it was much less official, less rules, less structure. But we get to the actual sport in the 1960s, which is when the official sport as it is today is founded. And yeah, they've been Fierljepping ever since. And I just think it's so fun. I love sports that are just so different from what we're used to, like in our culture.
Do they have little rungs on the side of the pole or something that you can climb? Or is it just a straight pole that you have to scooch
They're
up?
totally smooth. So the poles, the modern day Fierljeppen pole is carbon fiber, so it's very light but very strong. And then the only other thing that it has that makes it different than other just poles is it has a large, round, flat base at the very bottom so that it doesn't sink into the
okay.
mud. And that's, other than that, it's just like
Makes sense.
your average pole. So there's nothing
Your everyday
special.
run-of-the-mill pole.
Yeah, other than it being decently light and
Yeah, because you got to push the thing up too.
yeah, and having that base, just a normal pole. So your goal is to sprint down as fast as you can. The official sport is that you sprint. They build the platform, and you've got all these competitors. There's roughly 500 to 600 registered Fierljeppers, and so they do these big competition, and like thousands of people come out to watch and stuff. So essentially, one end of like a small river or canal, you have this big wooden platform that they build. Then in the middle of the canal, you've got the pole stalk that's angled towards the platform that you jump off of. And then on the other side, you've got a giant sand pit. And then beyond the sand pit, you've got a massive crowd of people watching this sport.
Okay, so the pole isn't laying on the ground when you get to it. Like it's angled up so you can run up to it, and like you don't have to completely pick it up. That's
No.
what I'm trying to have a hard. That's what I'm having a hard time picturing.
It's
is like how you run
interesting.
with it and push it up.
Yeah, so you don't run with it. So
Oh,
it's sticking in the water, and
well, I
they
mean,
use
as you
like,
run, you push
yeah.
it
So
up.
for the competitions, they use like a little crane actually to set it up. So it's just sticking in the water, and to give you some perspective, these pole stalks, these modern day pole stalks, are around 13 meters tall, which is about 43 feet.
Okay, what
So-
angle is it sitting at when you first get to it?
I would say that's a good question. If you watch a video, it's like pretty angled towards the person. Um, you should just pull up a video. It's actually pretty interesting, just to help give you some perspective. Um, but they're super long. I would say maybe like 45-degree angle if I were to
Okay.
make like a guess. 45-degree angle towards the platform. So essentially, you sprint down this platform as fast as you can. You leap, you grab the pole stalk, your momentum carries it up and hopefully over, and then as it's going up, you're climbing up as fast as you can to get as
Gotcha.
high as you can. Then when it falls the other direction towards the sand, you leap off of it and then see how far you can get. And when
That's
you
pretty
land,
fascinating, actually.
yeah,
Watching
it's
it.
fun. It's fun because like there's a lot of science behind it. It's actually a lot from what I've read. I've never tried it because I live in Montana, but it's a lot harder than it seems, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of things you have to get just right to make it
Yeah.
work. Um, so, so here's some
Okay.
here's some
Okay. So you have to
strategies.
leap off the dock and then
Oh
grab
yeah,
onto it.
yeah. You have to
It's
leap
also
hard
thinner than
and
I
then
thought.
catch it.
Yeah. It's
You
only like
catch it in
2
midair.
inches diameter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. So when you run, you've got a spotter behind you that runs after you, and they help you in case the pole falls the wrong direction. That's one of the trickiest things. Is as you run and leap,
Oh,
you
sure,
have
sure,
to
sure.
run. The hardest part is you have to run with just enough momentum to provide just enough momentum that it carries the pole just past its center of gravity. But the trick is you want it to be at or near its center of gravity for as long as possible because that's
Yeah,
when the
give you
pole's
time to
moving its
climb up.
slowest. Yeah. So if you watch a video, a lot of times you'll see it go straight up and then kind of hold there, and then the um, the people will just be climbing, and it is like just straight up, and then it'll slowly tilt the other direction.
Right. So you need
Um,
it to just go past the center of gravity so you don't fall back onto the dock. Does that happen?
uh,
People get smack the
yeah,
dock
so
with their back or something?
that's why there's a spotter. Their job is to run after the person and watch to make sure the pole doesn't fall backwards, because if it does, they can yell at the climber or the Fierljepper, excuse me, to jump off and just
Oh,
let it
fall in the
go.
water.
Because
Okay.
sometimes I guess it's hard to tell if it's moving like backwards while you're also climbing really
Sure,
fast.
sure, sure, sure.
So they let you know, hey, we're falling the wrong direction. I did see one video of a guy who didn't quite reach the center of gravity, so the pole fell backwards and he fell with it. And at this particular competition, they had like haystacks all next to the platform, and he
Okay.
landed and crashed into these haystacks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is like, it's no redneck. Like, I thought it was like pretty just thrown together, but they have like sponsors everywhere,
Sponsors and
and then
uniforms, and they're
hundreds of spectators, and it looks like they put this sand pit, like they bring in all the sand. Like, it's,
yeah. Oh yeah,
that's
it's not
pretty wild.
naturally there.
I didn't think it
It's-
was like an actual, like, bring people in, set it up, make it official.
Oh yeah. It's like a legit thing. There's announcers and like the cheering fans, and they all have their uniforms. And I don't know for sure, but I feel like they might have teams sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it seems like sometimes they're dressed similarly. So I
They've
don't
got
know.
jerseys. Yeah, that's
It
very interesting.
Yeah.
If you're just listening and you haven't looked it up by now, you definitely should.
Oh yeah. It's very fascinating. Um, Another interesting thing is the strategy of placing the pole stalk. So if you set it closer to the jumping platform, it requires a lot less momentum to get it kicked up and over, so you'll be a lot more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
But you won't be in the air nearly as long, so you won't have, because it moves a lot faster, so you won't have nearly as much time to climb the pole. And vice versa, if you move the pole stalk further back, it requires much more momentum and like sprinting, jumping power to push it up and over, but it's going to be a lot slower, so you'll have a lot more time to climb and get higher up.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the trickiest part is your goal essentially is to get the momentum and the force just right so that the pole reaches its peak height, its center of gravity, as slowly as possible. And you have to do all this while holding onto the pole, climbing, you have to balance, and then you have to use your body to try to steer the direction of the pole too. So there's so many different things that go into like a successful Fierljeppen.
Sure.
I would love to try this someday. I think it's very, very interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting too because some of these people I'm watching, they climb up really high and they only land. So you have the sand pit, and then just past that is where you have the stands that are facing them. So people are coming, the guys that are really good are only coming like feet away from the spectators.
Yeah,
but I guess it's measured. So the pole's only so high, so you can only get so tall. So unless you like jump off the top of it, you're not going to.
That's what I was going to say. The only thing I could think of that I imagine would be very difficult to do would be if you got like a foot on the top of the pole and you like pushed off.
Yeah, I don't even know how that's possible. But.
Right. But it's interesting. So it's only measured by how far you get in the sand. So you could, in theory, not climb the pole as much, but still win the competition if you can leap further as the pole's falling.
Sure.
Similarly, like if you were able to climb the pole really high but had a bad dismount, I mean, you could still lose to someone who barely climbed at all but had a great dismount. So there's a ton of strategy and a ton of theory that goes into it, which is what makes it so interesting to me, other than having a really fun name.
Fierljeppen.
Also, if you watch the videos, the falls are not light. Like it's
brutal.
A brutal. Yeah,
they're
it's
probably
crazy.
falling from 20 feet in some cases.
Well, yeah. So the pole can be
13 meters
feet high.
Yeah,
is I think the tallest or the standard for the tallest poles is 43 feet. So it starts tipping. By the time it's gained enough momentum and you let go, it could be letting go from 30 feet up or 25 feet up.
Yeah, because you're almost falling diagonally.
Yeah. So
from 40 feet.
And there's a lot of sand, so they break their falls, but like some of the times they just fall and just land on their side, and
I'm sure you could just smack your face on your knee. Like I bet people. Yeah.
Well, now you can watch like Fierljeppen fail compilation videos.
Ooh, I don't know if I want to do that.
It's something I highly recommend. Actually, I haven't seen. Yeah, so it's interesting.
It's not nasty.
No, I didn't see anyone get like hurt or anything, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of like basketball or baseball or like really any of the common sports we have, in that it's got like its established competitive thing where they have all the best stuff, but then it's also like a local fun thing you can do.
Oh.
So like there's a ton of videos of people that just have like shorter poles, like maybe 10, 15 feet high, and they're just doing it in like smaller canals, trying to learn how to do it and stuff.
You could just do this on your own.
Yeah, right?
You should just go find a stream and jump over it. Fierljeppen across it.
Fierljeppen. So there's a ton of videos of like more local stuff where people try to jump across smaller stuff and then just like fall and splash down in the water, and those are pretty entertaining too.
Okay.
But I'll end. So that's Fierljeppen, and it's like I said, it's pretty established. The U.S. didn't actually really get a hint of it until the 12th season of The Amazing Race. Speaking of Amazing Race, so we mentioned that twice.
Sponsored
they called
by
it ditch
Phil.
falling. Sorry. That's funny. My notes had a typo. Ditch vaulting. So that's kind of when the U.S. first saw it a little bit.
Oh, wow.
I wish there'd be more of it here because I think it's a super interesting sport. And I think if it was bigger, like if it was the type of thing tens of thousands of people did, then you'd start having like extreme Fierljeppers. jumping like I don't know, 50, 60-foot poles, and just like if there were a lot more people doing it and it's like expanding the sport and the intensity of it, I think it could be super cool.
I could see this as like a track event.
Totally.
Track and
Yeah,
field event.
that's one thing I read is that it's essentially a combination of pole vaulting and the long jump.
Yeah, yeah.
You're jumping into the sand, but you're also pole vaulting.
It's not how high you can get from the pole vault, it's how far you can get.
Yeah.
It's just like a horizontal pole vault.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that it is just a fascinating sport. I'll end with this because this blows my mind. The world record right now was set in 2017 by a guy named Jaco de Groot. Again, so sorry if I mispronounced names.
He's a pretty forgiving guy.
Yeah, I've heard he's just a really great dude.
A real sweetheart.
Yeah, just when I was talking to him earlier about this topic, just so kind. He's got the world record. 2017, he jumped 22.21 meters, which is almost 73 feet.
Wow.
Isn't that?
So is that measured from where the base of the pole is or from where you actually jump off?
I think the only thing that makes sense to me, because I was confused about that too, the only thing that makes sense would be the base of the pole.
Okay.
Because for the sand pit itself, you can watch this jump. It's very impressive. The sand pit itself, maybe it's 73 feet, 73 feet. But I didn't think so. So I'm assuming it's measured by the base of the pole.
Okay.
But still, to jump on a pole, and then jump off 73 feet later is just so crazy. And that just shows that this sport, it's a cool thing. And there's a lot of cool stuff that can happen.
There you
And
go.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I just watched that. He almost cleared the sand pit
Yeah, he's like
entirely.
a couple feet maybe from like a guy that's sitting there watching.
Yeah.
I would have been very nervous.
Just a dude in a chair.
Which is
Yeah,
funny.
like you see those videos of like NBA players tackling people
Right.
sitting on the side
Yeah.
there, but if you
I don't
get
know if I would ever want to
stomped by
sit.
one of these guys, it's over.
Yeah, because they're falling from. I mean, that at the world record, he's probably falling from 35 feet.
Yeah, yep.
Like if you land on someone, you're both gonna get very hurt. I'm assuming they have some
wild.
sort of math to know that like it's not possible for
Yeah,
someone to fall
yeah.
further than this, but
Yeah.
still. So there you have it. That's
love
all
that.
I got. That's
Big
Fierljeppen.
fan of that. I love that.
I'm just a big fan of sports that are not what I grew up with, and the fact that they're
This-
like super established sports that I've never heard of that are still very cool. I
I think the
it.
closest I've got to Fierljeppen is when somebody would break their leg and they're on crutches, and you say,
Oh, yeah,
can I
you
use
had
those
to-
crutches? And then you take them and see how far you can step
Yep.
using the crutches.
The good old elementary school. Can I play with
Can I
your crutches
try?
for a little bit?
And then the guy with the broken legs just sitting there
Like,
sure,
I'm
okay.
glad that you guys are all profiting off of my misfortune.
Yeah, it's always fun when a kid in school breaks his leg.
Yes, we got a new one. A new broken leg. Let's
Another
go.
cast to sign. More crutches to play with.
We need more of these. Need more broken leg
So
people.
somebody else, he's getting his cast taken off next weekend. Somebody's got to step up and
Someone step up. And I'm sick of all these broken arm people. They provide nothing.
boring.
No entertainment, no fun to the rest of us. If you're gonna break
Or-
something, break a leg.
Or if we get lucky, somebody breaks both their legs. We can use their wheelchair and try and do some wheelies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, that's all I got. That's Fierljeppen.
That's fun. I like that. I that's definitely something I would try. Now that I know about it, I know it's possible. You find
yeah.
a little gully with a stream running through it. That's no
15-foot
problem.
pole,
I
just
can
give
jump
it
it.
Totally.
Find a big stick.
Just see what
See,
happens.
it's all about now that you know it's possible.
yeah.
the world's
you
your
can do
oyster.
anything. I will never cross another bridge. Only Fierljeppen.
A worst case scenario, I have to drive across it because it's too
Ugh.
big. But
Well,
if it's a
even
walking
then,
bridge, Oh, may
Just give me a 100-foot pull stock. I'm ready for anything. Ready for
or just
action.
get two of them stilts across. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you had two pole stalks next to each other? You climb up it, grab the other one, and then you.
Stilt
That's the next
over.
evolution of this, I think. Yeah. You take a couple steps and then you fall.
That's something that I'm very interested in, is the expansion of this sport, because I think there's a lot that could be done, and like
Exactly.
if it blew up enough and enough people were doing it, I think it could be like pushed far enough that it could be even more interesting.
Yeah, better yet, you do it like Tarzan. You have a series of poles set up one after the other. You
Uh-huh.
fall, jump onto the next one. You could go as far as you want.
Yeah.
There's no limit.
Indefinitely. You could feel yep indefinitely.
Yeah, you could fill you up the rest of your life if you wanted.
Also,
enough
another
poles.
idea, you know those big slides over ponds that you slide down, then they shoot you off and you go flying way into the air?
Yeah.
Picture that ends in a fuel yep. So instead of just doing a big
You could
cliff
get on
jump,
like a 60-footer.
yeah, and then you could fuel yep massive
Oh
amounts.
man, think about
Or or here's one. You're skiing, you're doing the pond skiing. Instead of trying to ski across the pond, you ski to a fuel yep and then climb.
that. You
Disconnect
have
your
to click
skis
off
somehow.
your skis midair,
You have
kick
to
off your boots.
you keep your boots completely loosened, so then you jump out of your boots onto the fuel yep.
I love that.
And then I guess you land in the snow.
That way, this sport can be in the Winter and Summer Olympics.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love to see this in the Olympics. I think that'd be so fun.
That would be really fun. Yeah, it does seem like an Olympic sport for sure.
It
Maybe
would
one
be
day.
one that I would be the most likely to go see at the Olympics. You know, you have to like pick and choose the events.
Yeah.
I think
I
this
think,
one would be.
Yeah, I think LA is coming up in 4 years or something.
I should
I'm
email
pretty
LA.
sure LA is coming up. Yeah. Or it's going
Hey
to be in
LA,
LA.
have
Summer
you heard of
Olympics.
Fierljeppen?
LA, you should think about adding it.
Oh man. This has been a good themed episode. Lots of interesting
Sports.
stuff.
I almost talked about. I was doing some research into soccer and why it isn't as big in America.
Oh.
And
Anything interesting there?
fun fact for you: people are always hating on Americans for calling it soccer.
Mm-hmm.
You know who came up with the word soccer?
Who?
The British. It's not even an American word. Did you know that?
I actually had no idea. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then they switched back to footy.
Let me just tell you, the British blame us for everything. Also, if you're
Ain't
listening
that the truth?
from across the pond, we're super glad that you're listening. Thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks for listening.
Thanks for Fierljeppen over the pond
glad
and
you're
to our
here.
podcast.
Thanks for Fierljeppen over. It means a lot.
Ooh, this would make for a good T-shirt. I'd buy this one.
What?
A Fierljeppen, a Learn
Oh,
Me Something
Fierljeppen?
Fierljeppen shirt.
Like a phrase like Fierljeppen your way into my heart.
Next Valentine's Day, I'm making a
A Dutch
custom
Valentine's Day card.
custom card for Mallory. You Fierljepped right into my heart. Oh, good stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna just give a little recap. Try
Yep.
and convince people they should vote for me.
Yep.
I talked about the Barkley marathons, and just when I was thinking about this today, it made me think about my own time when I've done races and running and everything, and how much I've learned about how much the human body is capable of. And you're more capable of doing things like this than you think. Not that everybody can do this, and you shouldn't. if
Only
you haven't
15 people
trained or
have.
anything. I know, but like, I don't know. It's inspiring to see people do crazy things that you wouldn't think is possible.
Totally. Yeah,
And
agree.
that's something that I've learned, is that you can do more things than you think. And in that David Goggins book, he said he has a 40% rule,
Yeah.
where he says when you think you're absolutely done and can't do anything else, like you're just exhausted, gassed, if you will, then you're only
Yep.
40% of the way done.
Oh, I
So think
disagree.
about that. Think about that next time you are doing a physically strenuous activity. The 40% rule from the most intense human on the planet.
I disagree. But I will. I'll do some testing. I'll do some physical testing
There you
to see if he's correct.
go. Don't kill yourself.
I'll run as far as I think I can possibly run. And then I'll do
go
some quick calculation in my
60%.
head.
I'm almost halfway. I mean, think about it. Anyway, so I think that race is interesting
Yeah.
and a little
Agreed.
inspiring. Yeah.
Okay, and I
Why
think
should
you
people
should
vote for you?
Yeah, you should vote for me because I talked about something that has some really interesting history. It's got some practical application. There was some war strategy involved. There was some science and physics involved. And then also, it's just a really fun sport, and it's really entertaining to watch. I highly recommend anyone just Googling and watching one of these competitions, or like a compilation at least. Very interesting.
We'll link it below too.
Yeah, totally. And that's and it's got a fun name. That's about it. Fun sport, interesting backstory, lots of science. War.
It's super goofy to think about a guy in war fierljepping across many
Right?
bodies of water. That just is so goofy.
in
So
my
silly.
in my head, I don't know why this is the case, but you remember the scene in Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs where the cop is like sprinting to save his son?
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
leaping over stuff.
Little
That's what
wood.
I picture this guy doing in the 80 Years' War. He's just
I
like
picture. Yeah, go ahead.
huge. He's huge and yoked and just like leaping, and soldiers are like tripping around him trying to grab him, and he's just like ha ha ha, feel yep.
I picture him basically doing that, but he just goes "Huh, huh,"
Mario, he makes
like
Mario
he just
sound
kind of
effects.
grunts every time he does it. Hey,
Woohoo! That's so good. Okay, and that's why you should vote for me.
okay.
So punishment we already talked about. We usually don't. We usually reveal it right now, but this is
You know
a
what it
high
is.
stakes double or nothing episode. Loser of this essentially loses both this episode and the previous episode,
Yeah. Yep. Please vote for me.
and or me.
And
Actually, just
But
or
first,
me.
me.
No and.
and yeah, I wonder if you can vote for. I'll set it up so you can only vote for one person. That's, what I'll
for the
do.
best. Don't give people any ideas.
Yep.
Okay. Also, thanks for being patient. We know this is a week late, but sometimes life happens, and that's
Sometimes
all.
you gotta drive across Kansas and
Sometimes.
spend time with family.
Yeah. Sometimes the time just fierljeps away from you. You know.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that
That's-
could not be further from a lie. Sentence is
There's the
not how I meant it to go.
there's the sticker. Sometimes the time just fierljeps away from you.
The time.
I'd put that
That's
on my coffee mug. My
that's like
hydro
a
flask.
poster. You know those motivational posters? It says like
Don't let the
it's like
time
a cat
fierljep away
hanging,
from you.
hang in there.
Yep.
Don't- It's a guy feel yepping.
Let's wrap this one up. Let's
Okay,
end this
sounds
bad
good.
boy.
Sounds good to me.
Anything else you want to say to the people?
Thanks, patrons, for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the nightclub.
Oh, yeah. All right, Larry. Play us out.